struggling to such is the case in Nigeria today. Well, for those, I know you'll be wondering who is this. Well, my name is Digo. I'm a student in Jesu and I'll be a narrator in today's drama titled Power Struggle. Well, for those of you who are interested in politics, the rules are very simple. Never hit the big guys, focus on the small people. They're your muggles. They are very powerful, but they don't know. That is why it's so easy for the politicians to scam them, like they have done for the past 60 years. As billions of naira budget for the 210 million people, your job as a politician is to position yourself between the budget and the people. Well, it's very simple. Just be on the conduct from from the budget to your interest group and to your bedroom. But Nigeria only talk. Their anger is to reach in beer parlors and newspaper stand. You try to steal a loaf of bread and they will lead you out of anger. But loot billions of naira from the national treasurer and they will crown you with chieftaincy titles. The truth is bitter, but it needs to be told. If they ever riot, it's to kill themselves. They never rise against the politicians. Yes, you may not like me, but you cannot ignore me. What happens when the leaders of tomorrow take up their position today?
Young man, you think I'm problem, right? I know your passion. I know your zeal. I can feel your energy. In fact, I know your desire is to make an impact. And maybe in that process, have your name in the sand of time. That's just useful exuberance. I have been there. We have all been there. You are just a small boy. A small boy that knows nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know nothing about the struggles of this country. You know nothing about our fight for power. You know what? There's this word of wisdom that says, you don't meddle in issues that are higher than you. And election matters are not one that boys should meddle in. And let me put it this way. A child does not go asking who killed his father. I hope you all are smart enough to get my drive. Now, here's my offer. You will step down from running for the office of president and join our party. Of course, you'll be welcome to a worthy office. And alternatively, we might permit you to run for the office of the president on our party platform. And that will happen only under a mutual agreement. That way, you'll be sure of a win. So what's your pick?
No. I said no. This country and beyond, Nigeria rises as for the years you stolen from them. Well, now it's our turn to make you an offer. Your party will bring out men, women, proven integrity and commitment and contentment as candidates for the coming election, both gubernatorial, senatorial, presidential, and all of it. Or you bring the party flag down if we have to offer the same criminals.
Are you insulting us?
Excuse me, I'm not done yet. Secondly, every one of you hold a press conference and apologize to Nigerians for the years of stealing, money laundering, poor health infrastructure, poor basic amenities, and even the religious and national crisis is all sponsored and masterminded. Well, I know about the bomb blast is sponsored and masterminded. I know about it. We have records about it. Do this, and we'll live in peace and the Nigeria of our dreams. But do not do this, and when I become president, I will ensure that not any one of you live in peace. Even your family members, you guys will not live in peace. You guys will all live in pieces. I'm sure you understand me.
Till the end.
Can you imagine yesterday I sent my wife to the market to buy things for provision. She said that things have increased as far as what it was last week. I'm not sure this election of a tune will.
Me want to use that small money that I have to take off my family. Oh God, this Nigeria is turning me into something. Of course you know it's time to do some damage control. It's time to press the red button. But you need not to press. The Nigerian politicians have different ways, many techniques of controlling the Nigerian sufferings. When the Nigerian moguls start suffering, then they decide to protest. Then the politician will now bring out a technique of hitting them with something hard that will make their troubles disappear. How do politicians make their troubles disappear? Swallowing it with a bigger problem. In many countries, many first cases can bring down a government, but in Nigeria, it's simply for a weaker government. The more weaker the government becomes, and the more suffering, the more the Nigerian will suffer, the more weaker the government becomes. I'm talking about the kind of fuel scarcity that will make an Okada man sleep at the fuel station for days. This kind of fuel scarcity can quench any protest, and if it doesn't work, then use the security agency. But if it still don't work, then it's time to play the FA card. Start abusing yourself on social media and newspaper stands as you are play fighting on the press. So will the Nigerian moguls be fighting on the street for real. Now, the budget provides 5,000 new jobs, and you provide 500 new jobs. Eat the rest of the money. In the midst of all this confusion, continue with your own agenda. Before the Nigerian moguls will know what is happening, another project might have finished. God. You didn't pay a dime for this knowledge. I will send you my account details. Make sure you pay some accolades. See you at the other side.
The president instructed that this protest should be suspended, and as such as this gathering here is illegal.
And you will agree with me that there is nothing wrong with the citizens demanding their constitutional right to vote. Yes! Let the voters registry be reopened so that we can go and cast our vote on the election day. That is all we ask.
I give you 2 minutes to disperse this assembly or compare it to use a forceful measures.
Allah vote!
Be gone.
Allah vote!
Exactly is the value of the life of these Nigerian citizens. Controversies have filled the airwave and media headlines. Debate on who's to blame or who's not. But I tell you, I'm to blame. You are to blame. Every citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is to blame. These innocent citizens came out to protest peacefully, demanding for their constitutional rights. But these corrupt, demonic, devilish politicians infiltrated their means through their machineries and hijacked their protest, opening fire on 2 policemen. The response is what we are seeing here today. This body laid lifeless today because we know who these corrupt politicians are, but yet we allow them gallivant freely with their reckless impunity and their reckless abandon. This body laid lifeless today because our government and private organization, we see corruption flourishing, and yet we do nothing about it. They lay their lifeless today because every Nigerian citizen gathered indoors and outdoors and argue about a state in a nation. The corruption in Nigeria, and yet they do nothing about it. They do not even have the PVCs to vote these corrupt politicians out. They lay their lifeless today because as every mosque and church that gathered their members week in and week out in thousands and hundreds, and yet they do not mobilize their members to vote these corrupt politicians out. Use your PVC. Use your PVC. The cost after prayer. I tell you, you can pray for now to the kingdom come, but without works, your prayers are dead. Our brothers and sisters feed on their own urine, feed on white plants and drink of their own urine to quench their thirst for the scoring sun of the Sahara, while they go in search for greener pastures. And above that same Sahara, 3,500 feet, we have these same men sitting on luxurious jets, sipping on expensive wines, and consided in their first class seats, while they loot away our national treasuries into banks in the United Kingdom. Thousands of our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, are picked on by sea creatures and sharks, while their boats capsize in the Mediterranean Sea, all because they are looking for greener pastures in a foreign land. And then you have these same men sitting on the ugly backside on beaches, Malaga and Malibu, feeding on food gotten from the same creatures that have long ago feed on our long-lost youthful compatriots. But today ends the reigns of the terror with this evil they have done, because we are joined by over 200 million Nigerians, home and abroad, and with one voice we say, thus far and no more. This body laid lifeless today. They are crying out for vengeance, but not only for themselves, but they are crying out for vengeance for those who lost their lives in these horrible roads that have been set aside to be commissioned. Roads that have been set aside to be commissioned, but this embezzled every single penny that had been set aside for these roads. They cried out for vengeance for our unfortunate citizens fighting for their pension and have gone unrewarded, and their families left to die. They are crying out in vengeance for those who have lost their lives in religious crisis masterminded by this evil genius. They cried out for vengeance for our soldiers who have lost their lives to insurgency sponsored by these devilish politicians. They cry out for vengeance for our failed justice system that has seen thousands of men and women in prison for crime they know nothing about. We will not be dismayed, my fellow compatriots, because there are absolutely nothing wrong with Nigerians that cannot be fixed with what is right with Nigerians. This masquerade of slavery have made a wrong spectacle of this great nation to the world. But today, we will reconstruct the headline. But together, we will reconstruct the headlines and change the narrative from our schools to our churches and our mosques, from our offices to our organization and afar, from door to door and every media platform, and we will declare, henceforth, there will be no peace for the wicked. Nigerians, we may act cowardly, but we are not stupid. We may have been slow, but we are not indecisive. Nigerians all over the world rise together to mourn our loss, and will say we will no longer give oxygen to the wicked, so that they will choke in their iniquity, and we will vote them out of their office, and we will give corruption a befitting burial in our land, and together we will build a nation, so much that the international communities will join us to say, "O death, where is your stink? O corruption, where is your victory?" So arise, O compatriots. Nigerians call obey, to serve our father's land with love and strength and faith. The labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity.